Yes, I agree to use tax dollars to incentivize large businesses to come to the city. Every city wants their city to be the one the employer brings his business in. First, it creates jobs. Secondly, the more business tax revenue brings in lessens the tax burden on residential tax for the residential taxpayer. Prime example is Kroger. When they came into the city, it had in the Commerce Park 650,000 square feet of usage. There is now 4 million square foot obtained in the Commerce Park, which means as the businesses keep coming in, we will have the revenue coming into the city that does not need to be used from the taxpayer for property taxes. I am somebody who definitely believes in revenue over property tax. Thank you.
And thank you. Mike Smith, what's your response?
Thank you. I'm going to say it differently somewhat. I agree with what the mayor said for the most part, but the question is, does the incentive benefits the residents or the city in some way, shape, or form? And that means that when this question gets raised on a project, my question back is, how is it benefiting the city? How does that incentive benefit the city? As the syndicated program got a break on its taxes and fees in exchange for bringing in high-tech jobs. They were supposed to bring in around 350 jobs. They've done over 1,000 jobs already and continue to grow. But bigger than that was the climate of cooperation the city demonstrated with Kroger in building that facility, with permitting and inspections and all the other parts that went with it. What we did was to show that we are a friend of the business. And you can do business here with the city in such a way that makes economic sense for you. And as was pointed out, what has happened is that we've got another 4 million square feet either constructed or under construction now, and we haven't had to pay any incentives to get that. So those have all come in as a result of providing that one incentive out to everybody at one time. So I believe it's incumbent on me to engage the commercial industry in ways that will allow the city to move forward in a positive manner with things such as high-paying jobs, that draw talent to the city, and that creates centers of excellence within the city. In short, I believe that as mayor, it would be my duty to ensure the city is getting its best return on investment and that Groveland is moving forward in a positive manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson, your 30 seconds available if you'd like to add to that or have a rebuttal.
Well, I believe that when Kroger came here, it in a way opened the floodgates because all these businesses are coming and looking to move into Groveland. As mayor, I have reached out to businesses. Right now, I'm working with staff and other businessmen to look into possibly a truck stop up near the Commerce Center. I've got convinced restaurants to open up in the city. I work with as many businesses as I possibly can, and I promote them, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Mr. Smith, you have 30 seconds to have the final word on this.
The only thing I'd like to point back is that I do understand where the mayor's coming from, and I do believe that our growth of the business community is going to be key for the future of the city in a number of different ways. Not only is it bringing jobs and other elements like that to here, but it's creating a diversification of our tax base so that we're not burning everything on individual homeowners, but taking it to a large society. So I look forward to the next couple of years growing businesses even more in the city.
All right, thank you. Our second question this evening goes to the candidates from District 3. Do you support special assessments such as the fire assessment? Describe why or why not. And we'll start this round of questions with Mr. Laux.
Yeah, I'm sorry, did you say number 3 or 2?
No, number 2.
Oh, 2 is left.
Sure.
Like I have a question.
Just so we're all on the same page, the candidates were given a list of questions, but we said we thought they should be expected to know answers for all of them, and then we selected ones per district. So the ones that we have are the ones that the board has selected for particular districts. So you have like a whole list, so you'll probably have to need to listen carefully to see which question he's asking. And if you need a moment, we won't start the clock until, because we did, so you can get to the research that you have. We want to be fair. Thank you.
So I'll repeat the question. It's, do you support special assessments such as the fire assessment?
On occasion, special assessments are necessary to help fund the city to provide critical services such as the fire department. I fully support Groveland's fire and police department and fund and ensure their operations. However, the recent special assessment imposed in 2022 has linked health relief pressure on the general fund. What I found most disturbing is the 2022 budget for fiscal year. What I found most disturbing in 2002 for fiscal year 2003, the council approved the budget that will increase the fund in excess of $2.1 million for non-essential services. The fire department assessment was created in part by lack of financial oversight of expenditures by the general fund and by the current council and by the fire department. Since the approval, and after numerous citizens expressed concern and methodologies about what was used in the assessment, the city recognized irregularities in the study and has planned to order a new study in 2023. My plan calls for council oversight to determine the scope of work prior to the new study being conducted.
All right, thank you, sir. Barbara Gaines.
The use of assessments such as the fire one is not uncommon. We really have three choices. Our options were to increase the millage rate, implement a fire assessment, or lay off public safety personnel. And you don't really know how much you need safety personnel until your house is on fire. Then it becomes very, very important. I, like you and the people on this council and everybody in the audience, have to pony up and pay this assessment. But I believe that out of the choices that we had, this was the best way to go. 10% of the people do not pay at the warrant. This way, it's fair because everyone has to pay this assessment. Sometimes you need assessments, sometimes you need assessments to make up the difference so that we can maintain our goods and our services and have income coming in, revenue coming in from single sources. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Louds, 30-second follow-up.
Yes, the city was aware in prior year to imposing that fire assessment fee that they had a $2.4 million deficit they'd be facing in 2023. They did nothing to cut non-essential spending in order to reserve that money to continue to spend as usual. To say I don't oppose fire assessment fees, but I do oppose the methodology that was used to calculate this one. And the city did no planning in the previous year knowing that this fee would come due in 2023. So basically what it did was free up $2.4 million for the general fund, which automatically was increased $2.4 million at the same time.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gaines, a follow-up?
Yes, sir. Thank you. What the city was aware of is that monies were being used for non-recurring uses. There was a FEMA grant that was awarded for 12 firefighters, and monies that were being spent here in the city that were not recurring. That is what the city was aware of, and this current council had to come in and clean it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 3 tonight goes to the candidates from District 5. Do you support development in the areas designated as an area of critical concern, such as the Green Swamp area? Describe why or why not, and what steps you would take to support your position. We're going to start this round of questioning with Randolph Waite.
Well, first off, I think that the city should honor a slogan, the city of natural charm, and work to preserve our environmental sensitive properties.
Okay. I like them short and sweet. Thank you. It's your turn now, Dina Sweat.
I support the rights of a landowner to develop their land so long as it agrees to state law and the city's comprehensive plan. However, when it comes to developing in areas of critical concern, we have to be careful that we do not adversely affect the sensitive areas of the city, county, and state. There should be a plan that calls for Groveland to enter into a joint planning agreement with Lake County to designate this area as an environmental corridor restricting development to one home for 5 acres, challenge the 1996 Groveland Settlement Agreement with Cypress Lake Reserve, Monte Vista Farms, previously known as Hearthstone, and the Banyan's Tract, and petition the courts to overturn the 2005 ruling of Administrative Judge Lawrence Johnson.
Mr. Waite, do you need 30 seconds or 1/5 of that?
30 seconds to work for.
Okay.
I really think we definitely should preserve our areas like the Green Swamp. Cypress Reserve is one of those sensitive topics that's right now before us, and my current opponent is supporting the expansion of that Cypress Reserve. So I think we really need to pay attention. Like I said, joint planning agreements. We got to have the partnership with our county commissioners for those joint planning agreements. One of the biggest purposes of that joint planning agreement is we have some unincorporated areas that are already in the city of Groveland that need to be adopted, that need to adopt our plan.
Thank you. Ms. Sweat, you have 30 seconds for a follow-up.
The roadways in Westwood Phase 1 and Westwood Phase 2, Lake Douglas Landing were approved in 2005, and Cypress Lake Reserve, Cypress Reserve was approved in 2016, was due to the 1996 Groveland Settlement Agreement, docket number 04-003651, GM, and the 2005 order by Administrative Judge Lawrence Johnson. Ordinance 2016-01. Fortunately, the Cypress Reserve PUD has expired, so it will allow current or future councils time to litigate the 1996 settlement agreement and Administrative Judge Lawrence Johnson, the 2005 ruling to stop high-density development in this area.
All right, thank you. Well, candidates, you have advanced to the second round of questions. Our next question tonight goes to the candidates from District 1. There is a perception among some in the community that the city is having problems meeting its revenue needs where recurring expenses are concerned. What is your understanding, and what would you recommend to ensure the city's financial stability for the future? I'll let you guys find that question, and then I will call on Mike Smith to start us off.
Thank you, Professor. So, yes, I do believe the city has not fully understood its obligations as regards to recurring expenses. I believe a large part of this has been a result of the method by which the city was managing its budget in the past. When I first came on council in 2017, we had a temp hire putting the city budget together on an Excel spreadsheet. The city now has a strong, credentialed financial staff. The result of hiring that staff is that they've been able, over the last year and a half, to develop a comprehensive understanding of how the city has been managing its funds, what the recurring revenues and not recurring revenues are, at the same time, and also cognizant of how many actions may cover the city with recurring expenses and to ensure that there's recurring revenues to cover those expenses. There is, I believe, a need for the city to better plan and understand its out-year budgets. As mayor, I work with the city manager and finance department to ensure that the city develops a long-range financial plan, a financial sustainability plan, and look at multi-year budgets as regards how we authorize expenditures and the recurring charges that they may obligate the city to fund in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Evelyn Wilson.
First of all, I want to clarify, there is no budget shortfall. And there never was an announcement from the city that there was. Yes, we have to tighten our belts. That is something that I brought up at our council meetings, at our workshops. We had a very interesting year. We celebrated our centennial. So there were a number of expenses that we put out that won't be typical expenses in the future. I have admitted that I'm somebody who wants everything. I want everything for the city. And I've learned and I've told the finance director and others, you have to tell me no. I accept no for an answer. But it isn't my job. It is not any council member's job to go in and fix things. That is day-to-day work by the city manager and the city staff. That would be considered micromanaging, which is not permitted as for someone on the council. I do work when possible with staff when they allow me. And I thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Smith, 30 seconds for a follow-up or rebuttal.
Just to add to that, yeah, I agree with the mayor in the sense that it is not our job to micromanage and run the operations of the city. It is, however, the council's job to set the priorities and policies under which that city manager operates. And part of that is done through the budgeting process. So the council has to be aware of what's happening in the budget. They've got to have a good financial picture that's in front of them so that they can make informed decisions. We've heard about talking about wanting everything or some not wanting anything up here. But the idea is you've got to kind of know what you got and what you don't have to be able to answer that question. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson.
As I said, I go in and ask for things, and I do accept the word no. Bless you. But it is also their job to let us know if there is an issue. And we kind of let that slide this past year, where we know that now that we're voting on the budget, we are going to start having workshops and go, in a way, item by item, to decide what is good and what has time. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 5 goes to the candidates from District 3. The city contributes a substantial amount to the county in impact fees for schools. What role do you think the city council can play to ensure that Groveland schools receive adequate funding and are held accountable for improvement? Again, I'll allow you to find the question. And when you do, We're going to start with Barbara Gaines.
While Groveland collects the fees, the monies are turned over to the county. But the city must remain engaged with the Lake County School District. We do have a representative from Lake County School District on our planning and zoning board. We also have Vice Mayor Waite serving as a liaison. There's little that we can do to get the money, but we have to look at alternative ways to fund schools, perhaps such as charter schools. Those would be located more in the neighborhoods. It would eliminate transportation issues and keep families closer together. So we must stay engaged with the Lake County School District, but as well look for alternative schools for fund different schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Miles.
The fact is, Lake County School Board, or the Lake County Board of County Commissioners levies and collects school impact fees paid by new construction in Groveland. In most cases, the developer pays these fees either prior to the beginning of construction at the time the CO is issued. Over the years, there's largely continued discussion with the school board, Groveland schools that need to never been met adequately. The school board determines the disposition of the fees, and they can only be used or leveraged for capital improvements or new school capital facilities. My plan calls for the city or a private entity to enter into a partnership described before statute 1002-33. The Lake County School Board plan and design to build schools that are consistent with the city's vision for small neighborhoods integrated with walkable and neighborhood schools.
All right. Ms. Gaines, there are 30 seconds available if you'd like to follow up.
Those things we can't control, we do. Those things that we can't control, we work around. I say, let us stay engaged with the Lake County School District, but look for alternative sources such as charter schools for the neighborhoods and new developments. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Laux, final word.
I respectfully disagree with my opponent. We can't control this completely. We need to engage with the school board under the Florida statute that allows for charter schools to be built. The city has never done that except on one occasion prior to myself moving to Groveland, and it fell by the wayside when the housing market crashed. This is a very viable solution to the problem we're having with today's education system, and I hope and pray that this council, or the preceding council, or the future council does that. I know I'll certainly be engaged with it.
Thank you. The next question tonight goes to the candidates from District 5. Do you feel the road systems in Groveland, including the county, state, and federal road systems, are adequate to accommodate the city's projected growth? What role can the city council play as it relates